Okay, here we go. My video about what it means to be a skeptic, which is basically you take knowledge as theory. You do this what if thing that I've been doing lately with everything. You have no fear about doing it with everything because then you compare. Relativism, well, it's characterized as nihilism by a lot of people too. It's nothing. It's like people are looking at it and they're like, I can't see it, it's right there. It's not nihilism, and it counterbalances the nihilistic tendencies, let's call them, of skepticism. Because in skepticism, you do always break things down into the doubts and questions, but you don't end up with nothing, you end up with a lot of questions. And relativism is how you triangulate answers, imperfects often, on those things. You relate them. Okay. And you have, when you relate, like, belief in Santa Claus, what if that is true, to, what if quantum physics is true, you can figure out which system's better. But by saying what if, you can also say what if it's wrong, you can figure out the questions it doesn't answer. Anyway, 23 Discordian says, the title of skeptic gets hijacked all too often, though. There are far too many people that seem to think there is a fixed set of beliefs that are the correct skeptical ones, and holding this particular set of beliefs makes you magically rational. Not that this has much to do with your excellent video, thank you, but it's a pet peeve of mine, possibly caused by a mind virus, apparently. Okay. Um, then the bad ocelot says, you're not alone. In my opinion, most self-proclaimed skeptics are iconoclasts at best. In that role, they're great, but some are close to being cult leaders in their own right. What's maybe most scary about them is that many of them seem to have trouble with the notion of boundaries and act like other people owe them justifications for everything we believe. Fundamentalists minus the Jesus bits, if you ask me. Yeah, that's true. See, part of the problem with the way people think about skepticism and relativism, that they both have become interpreted nihilistically to a large extent in the mainstream in certain schools of philosophy. Whereas any technical analysis of the history of these ideas shows that these ideas are distinct things, and they're describable, and the contents of the ideas that they advocate are describable and exist. Um, they don't advocate or lead to nihilism unless you assume objective criteria. Okay, that because if you assume objective criteria, yeah, relativistic solutions will not satisfy objective criteria. The thing about skepticism is that you can't be dismissive of things. You can't use your skepticism to be dismissive. Well, I don't have to consider it. You can't be dismissive. The point is, there's always a question. So, if you do, for a skeptic to dismiss something is for him to assign a question or set of questions to it and set those questions aside. But he won't deny that there's questions, and especially in a social context, if somebody else brings up the questions, he can't say, there's no questions about that. He can't do that. That's not skeptical. So that's the understanding of skeptic that I advocate, and at least, applies to myself and I think many other skeptics.